in case you ever take that out. One Phillips screw underneath all of that, and then 4 Torx screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. I do believe they are T10 Torx screw. Small one. Long one. Long one. And a small one. Right, now due to the coolness of not having a spring in there, you don't have to suffer from the whole poking a screwdriver in, any of that jazz from the version 2 days, the old one. It's all new version 2, so it literally just pick it off like that. What I like to do though is, just with any other gearbox, is the gears here, here and here, I like to poke them back in so that they obviously don't come up with the top half of the gearbox. So just poke the actual gears themselves, the metal bit inside in between the bushes, and I like to put the anti-reverse latch and the trigger just in case, and then pop him off. When you take off the sides, just make note of any shims that are stuck, so any greases on this side. Well, make sure they're sort of where they are, leave them there for a bit, and then what we'll do when we reassemble it, we'll put them back onto the gears ready for when we locate it. Okay, it's gone a little awry here, so with one gear coming out and this thing, so notice how I said about notice the position of that just in case it come off, which was that way round. Right, what we're going to do here, let's just get this bad boy out of the way while we slide out the piston. Okay, we'll just move him out of the way, just double check his shim's still on there, and then relocate him back where he was. Righty, holding down the anti-reverse latch, you should be able to spin the gears freely. See how it's all working? Fantastic. So, see the lobe on the sector gear? We'll lift it up so you can see it a bit better. Doo-doom, doo-doom. That one. What you want to do is make sure that it goes into, we'll call it, the 90-degree position, pointing that way. It's there so that when you start the gun, you're not sort of jamming it or anything like that with the tappet plate here. Okay, so it's in a nice position to sort of pick up that tappet plate and just happily move the tappet plate back. Okay, what I'm going to do is just show you a little trick here when you're working on the guns. We'll take this out, make sure you get the tappet plate spring, put him separate. I'll show you how to put him back in a minute. I like to, because obviously we're going to have to remove the piston head here, so what I like to do is, while I'm doing this process, just take the O-ring off the piston head. Okay, see the actual cylinder itself, just stretch that over the cylinder. It may feel like it doesn't want to go, but believe me, it will go on there. Okay, now it's just that when you're obviously grabbing, and I've been in a few times now, the piston head, okay, you obviously, if the O-ring's on there, you're then going to sort of crush that O-ring and you know, potentially cause that some damage, right? But the actual piston head itself is just, there's nothing to the piston head. It doesn't actually have to do anything. What's important is obviously that the O-ring expands, yeah, and fills and obviously causes a perfect seal that goes on there. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is grab a cloth. See this performance cloth I have handy. I'll show you how to get the piston head off, because obviously the spring is attached. So grab the piston like this, grab the piston head like this, nice and tight, and then twist hard, turning this around, okay, while grabbing the piston head. It's important that you grab that hard, and it will come off, okay. Worst case, if it doesn't work that technique, you have to cut this hole out here, and underneath is the screw, okay. Now don't worry about leaving that hole off, it doesn't really make a difference to the piston head, but this is a much easier way of doing it, okay. Now also, when you put this back on, make sure you have some Loctite on that, because otherwise that will work off over time, because as you can see there, TM have put some on originally when they did it. Right, piston head off. Behind is obviously the weight, so this is the lead weight that goes in the back, so to obviously make sure that the piston goes the right direction. We take that off there, and then you have to locate it a certain way. See where the hole is? See where the hole is there? So obviously we want to inside mate them up, okay? So we're going to poke him in there, let him drop, hope he goes down the right way. It's important that you use the back of this, because the back of it is actually designed to take the impact of this recoil unit here. Yeah, use a different piston head, one with a screw that's exposed. You're potentially going to mash the end of the screw and never get the piston head off. Right, let's push him all the way down. Come on. Right, see how it's now located in there? A little locating lug. Now take the piston head. I just have forgot my Loctite, so I'm going to be naughty here, but then I'm sure I'm going to be back in here at some point. Twist him on there. That will then get nice and tight. Then when it's nice and tight, use your cloth and do it tighter. Until it gets to the point when it won't really go any further, or if you do go any further you might break it, you know, but then that's nice and tight, okay. So right, there's a piston. Obviously during this process you're going to be removing some greases and stuff, so it'd be nice and handy if you had a little bit of cylinder grease. So just pop back on there. This cost me £5. It's not a great deal. It's available on eBay. You can search anywhere. You never know, Eagle 6 might do their own one day. Right, pop the O-ring back off after having its nice little stretch on there, little stretchy holiday. Pop him back on there, so it's nice and loose now, so as it goes down there it's going to form a nice seal. See how it's slightly wider than the actual piston head? Which is what it's meant to be. Good seal. Right, we hope anyway. Right, let's poke him in there. Oh, actually, sorry, bit of grease. You don't need massive amounts, just to lube it. Poke him in there. If you want to test the seals, just put your finger over the end, and obviously it shouldn't compress. See how we're now pushing on?